welcome to TFI. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the different versions of Autodesk Vault. Someone on the Vault forums has just linked this product matrix, which explains the differences between all the different versions of Vault. And I thought, yeah, okay, I'll cover that because a lot of the points in here, a lot of the features don't make a lot of sense if you've never used Vault before. And that's exactly who this document is intended for. For example, what does projects and reporting refer to exactly? What does data reuse mean? If you've never used Vault before, it's just a word. It doesn't correlate into anything meaningful. So I thought I'll cover all the different versions of Vault. And it's a 2018 version. This will change in the future, obviously, so it's current and relevant as of today. So you've got three versions of Vault. You've got Vault Basic, you've got Vault Workgroup, and you've got Vault Professional. Vault Basic is the free, well, what they would say is the free version of Vault, but it's not really free. You can only use it if you've got a collection, an industry collection or a suite, and it's kind of bundled. I would imagine it's bundled into the cost of that. You can only use it if you've got one of those licenses, but if you do have one of those licenses, Vault Basic isn't licensed itself. You can install Vault Basic as many times as you want in your office, providing that you're entitled to use it. And then you've got Vault Workgroup, which is the first in the paid versions of Vault. That comes in at, you can see the prices there, $335 for a single license annually. And then Vault Professional is the full fat, best of the best with honest sir, all singing, all dancing version of Vault, which you'd go for if you want absolutely everything that Vault has to offer. So those are the three versions of Vault as of today that you can buy. And we'll start with Vault Basic. So with Vault Basic, you get these features here, right? So starting off with Direct CAD integration. What the hell does that even mean? Well, Direct CAD integration is something which every single Vault user will use without a shadow of a doubt. It's kind of taken for granted and it's extraordinarily important, and it's one of the biggest unique selling points of Vault over other data management programs that you could possibly get. The Direct CAD integration is the toolbars and the add-ins and the plugins that you get with every one of Autodesk's products. You know, Inventor, AutoCAD, Revit, they all come with Vault ribbon bar up at the top where you can directly interface your CAD program with Vault. You can check in, you can send files into Vault, send them out of Vault, and you can perform Vault interactions using the CAD plugin. So you've got the ribbon bar along the top, you've got the Vault browser in Inventor where you can right click on a file and you can check it in, you can check it out, and you can perform other operations directly within the CAD client. And that saves you having to jump over to the Vault program and then do the operations within there. You can actually do them within your CAD program. And you can also, and this is really good, you can right click directly on the model in the graphics window and perform Vault interactions straight from the right click menu, which is quite nice. So that's your direct CAD integration. And you get that with the other Autodesk products that support Vault, which is pretty much them all, other than the obscure ones that you probably wouldn't want to use Vault with anyway. All right, so that's your direct CAD integration, right? We've got support for AnyCAD. AnyCAD is Autodesk's terminology for the ability to import third-party CAD software or third-party CAD models into Inventor or other Autodesk products. So for Inventor, AnyCAD support is the ability to go to File, Open, and then open up the likes of CATIA files or SolidWorks files, Pro Engineer files, that kind of thing. And it brings them into your model without translating them. So you can open those other CAD models natively, and then any updates to the other CAD models will update in your CAD program without the need to sort of resend the files and re-import them. So Vault supporting them means that, yeah, Autodesk Vault supports, Autodesk CAD files. It's part of the Autodesk ecosystem. But AnyCAD for Vault allows you to handle, manage, and manipulate other CAD formats in the same way as you would do with their own native file format. So that's AnyCAD for Autodesk Vault. That comes with Vault Basic. We've got fast data searching. Now this is brilliant actually, because Vault's based on Microsoft SQL, the SQL database engine. The searching in Vault is lightning fast. I mean, this is a small Vault. There's only a handful of files in here, but I manage Vaults with millions of files in them. And the searching, as long as the Vault's well maintained, the searching is just as fast. So I can go into Vault and I can say, find me a fan, for example. And then within a fraction of a second after pressing return, it returns every hit, every single object in the Vault that matches the word fan, not just in the file name, but also searches through properties. So for example, I can go to the search and I can type in steel, and it'll go searching through part numbers, descriptions, materials, and it returns, for example, a heat plate. Well, why is that returned from the word steel? Well, if you scroll down the properties, you can see that the material is stainless steel. So the searching is absolutely ludicrously fast. It's quite accurate, I say quite accurate. It's very accurate. It's highly accurate. It's a safe bet that if you're searching for something in Vault and you can't find it, it isn't there. So it's that reliable. All right, then we've got central location for project data. Right, so some of these features are a little bit stretching it. Central location for project data is more of a reason for using Vault rather than a feature. Central location for project data, I guess, this is my interpretation of it, it means that Vault is the central location. It becomes the central location for all your project data. You can refer to folders in Vault as projects, for example. You could say, right, well, this GTX 970 folder, GTX 970 is my project, and everything that goes underneath here is the central location for all the data in that project there. You can refer to it as that, but that is not so much a feature, it's more of a reason to use Vault. Moving on, we've got data reuse. Data reuse refers to Autodesk's copy design, which comes in Vault Basic. And copy design is absolutely ridiculously powerful. Companies make their money from copy design. It's that powerful. It's such a time saver. It's the ability to take an entire design, right, which I'm going to struggle with because this one's checked out and reserved to my workstation, but you'd right click on an assembly and you would say copy the design. And what it'll allow you to do is it'll create a brand new assembly, and it'll give you the option of either keeping or replacing models within the assembly. So I can say, give me a new top level assembly, but in the process, I want you to replace fan 1 with a completely new fan, replace fan 2 with a completely new fan, but keep the rest of the parts. And that saves you having to go into the CAD program and do a save as and swap things out manually and fix constraints and that kind of stuff. Copy design will just do it all for you. You just pick and choose what you want to keep, what you want to replace, and then it'll go and give you a new design. You bung it in a folder into Vault and off you go. So it's data reuse is a massive, massive benefit of Vault Basic. And everything in Vault Basic is obviously included in Workgroup and Professional as well. Right, concurrent design. Again, that's more of a reason to use Vault than a feature, but concurrent design means that you can be working in a drawing office and 10 people, for example, could be working on this assembly. 10 people can have a copy of that assembly on their workstation. They can all have it open, but only one person at a time can be editing individual subparts. So I'm working on GTX 970 and I've got the top level checked out to me, which means nobody else can check out, which is different to getting the files. Checking out is different to opening the files. But I'm the only person that can edit the top level assembly. So for example, we've got the PCB board there. The little white circle there, the white circle means that I've got the file on my workstation, I've got it open, but I'm not editing it. I haven't got the rights to edit it. But as soon as I double click this and start to change it, Vault pings up a little, I'll show you. I might as well show you. I'm on the topic already, so I might as well show you what all this means. If I click new sketch, whack that on the top of the PCB board, Vault will kick up a message and say, oi, this is not checked out. Do you want to check it out? You click yes, and then it'll put the little blue tick, and then once you make a change, the circle goes green, and that means that you're now changing this file. You've got the exclusive rights to edit this file, and nobody else can. But other people can be working on the other files in the assembly. So that's what concurrent design means. It's a benefit of working with Vault, and you can't really do that reliably without a data management system. Okay, right, that's concurrent design. Easy administration and configuration. Again, that's a bit of a stretch. It's more of a reason for using Vault Basic, but it just means that Autodesk Vault comes with its own, what's called the Autodesk Data Management Server. It's a centralized console where your vaults are handled, managed. You can go into this ADMS console, change settings. It's a centralized area for managing the vault and adding new users and making administrative changes, that kind of thing. But most of the configuration that you would do in Vault is accessed through the administration menu, and you've got Vault settings and then global settings, and then this is where you can go and add users, disable users, change settings, change groups, add groups, whatever you want to do. So all your settings, everything to do with Vault is all done through a centralized set of application options, which saying it's easy is not necessarily strictly true. Vault isn't a simple application to get your head around. That's why you pay good money for your resellers and expert consultants to come in and do it for you. But it is pretty simple and straightforward once you know how and once you've got the experience in administrating it. Okay, quick, flexible deployment. Again, it's not really a feature. It's more of a term to say it's easy to install Vault clients to your workstations. It's easy to deploy the software to workstations, and that is true. Vault Basic can be deployed into a network deployment and then distributed to workstations pretty easy with a double click, and it just appears as a normal program like your CAD client. So that's quick, flexible deployment. And then we've also, with Vault Basic, got the Microsoft Office integration. So if you open up Word, if you open up Excel and PowerPoint, you'll get the same CAD integration ribbon bar that you've got here. You'd get that in Microsoft Word, where you can check Word documents in and out of Vault using a ribbon bar, which is nice. It's not something you'd use on a regular basis, depending on what you're doing, but it's nice to have that. So that comes with Vault Basic as well. Okay, so Vault Basic does more than that, but those are what Autodesk, I guess, deemed to be the flagship features of Vault Basic. So moving on, we've now got Vault Workgroup. So the next few features are specific to Vault Workgroup. You can only get these if you put your hand in your pocket and you pay for a license of Vault Workgroup. So visual data management for Inventor. This is brilliant. It really, really is brilliant. And I think it's quite underused as well. It's this button here. Again, this is my interpretation, I think. You'd think this is what they mean. This is data mapping. This gives you the option of selecting a template of a report. The reports are customizable. You can change these and create your own. But it allows you to pick a report and then hit this little button here to generate the report. What this then does is it gives you a chart of data. And that date, whatever you want to see here, is entirely up to you. For example, what we're looking at here are the percentages of the files open in Inventor that are currently work in progress or released. So I've went into Vault and I've released every file here with a padlock is approved and signed off. It's released. It's ready to go out and get built. And I've got a chart here of what percentage of files are released versus what's still work in progress. And now you can use the data mapping button to apply a color scheme and then slap it right onto your 3D model. So currently what's in red is released. What's in grey is work in progress. But I can come into here and I can say, well, override the colour to be something a little bit more, I don't know, it's a little bit more standout. So let's make it green. And then what you do is, I'll just change this to first level children. It makes it a little bit easier to see. And then we're going to apply the colour mapping and it's going to whack a whole bunch of colours against the model. And I'm just going to turn off all these hideous work planes that it puts on, which I'm not sure why it does that. But there you go. We've now got everything in red is what's released. Everything in green is what's work in progress. And it doesn't help you work. It doesn't give you any functionality in Inventor, but it's just a nice visual sanity check so you can see what you're still working on and what's signed off in your design. And you just hit it, check it out, and then once you're done with it, you can just shut this down and then carry on working, and then you can just rerun the report at any point in the future, and it'll give you an up-to-date visual indication of what's released and what's work in progress. And the world's your oyster with this. You can check, what's checked out to me, what's not checked out to me. What's steel, what's not steel, what's plastic, what's not, what's rubber. You can have material color designations applied against your model. Whatever you want to do, you can create the report and then apply that against your model and have this visual indicator, which looks pretty good. It's pretty good. You can use this in presentations, you can use this in reports, client meetings, whatever. Just this is what we've got signed off and this is what we're still working on. It's really nice. That's visual data mapping in Autodesk Vault Workgroups. Right, what else have we got? Automate tasks and deliverable creation. Right, well, this is a fancy marketing term which essentially means with Vault Workgroup you get the job server. So the job server, I'm going to head on over back to the Vault client. You enable it in the global settings. You go into integrations and then you turn this on, enable the job server. The job server is a worker process that allows you to offload tasks that are quite processor intensive to be done at a later point in time and later in the day and be done on another workstation other than yours. For example, when you release a document, a drawing or a model, you might want it to create a PDF or a DWF. Chances are you do. You can tell Vault to offload the creation of the PDFs to another workstation and do them, I don't know, after 5 p.m. after 10 p.m, whenever you want them to be done. So the way you do this is you go into the administration, you go into your life cycles, and then I use my TFI life cycle here, and I can edit this. So I can say to Vault, right, when I transition from work in progress to release, when a file goes from work in progress to released, I want to edit that, and I'm telling you to create a PDF using the job server when a file goes from work in progress to released. So do that with the job server, and then whenever a file is moved from work in progress to released, that file is going to get offloaded to the job processor, this little worker process that runs on another workstation, so it doesn't take up my PC's resource, and it'll do that job at 5 p.m. You can do it immediately if you want to, if it's on another workstation, but it'll offload that task, that processor intensive work, on another workstation. It's all automated. You can also use the job processor for custom jobs. A lot of people create custom programs to run in the background using the job processor. Item exports, bill of material exports, you can do pretty much whatever you want using the job processor. It's a nice little automated function that you get with Vault Workgroups. All right, projects and reporting is it's a bit of a stretch. This one, projects and reporting. Vault doesn't have anything in it which allows you to do project management. That's not what this means, although it does kind of imply that it isn't. When they say projects, what they mean is you can turn it, I mentioned this earlier, but you can turn your folder into a kind of virtual project whereby all it means is everything underneath this folder is data relating to this one project. But with Vault Workgroup, you can't do this in Vault Basic, but in Vault Workgroup, you can apply a lifecycle state to the folder. So you can say, right, everything in this project is now ready to be released. So rather than release the files on a file by file basis, you can just go to the folder and then you can change the state of the folder. And then if you had a lifecycle assigned to it, you can release the folder, which is almost like signing off the project. And then everything in that folder / project is released. That's what they mean by projects. You can't use project management tools. It doesn't have Gantt charts, all that kind of stuff in it, nothing like that. And when they mean reporting, they mean the reports that I showed you in the data mapping. You can use those kind of reports inside Vault to run against your files. So reports are a little bit clunky. What you would do is you go to tools and then find, and then you hit this report button here and then pick a template, and then you can run one of these reports against a data set inside Vault, and then it'll run a report template. It gives you a sort of an A4 size sheet, kind of template report where you can just see that data set run against your report. In the same way data mapping works, it just gives you it in a sort of paper form on screen. So that's what they mean by reporting. We've got flexible data security. What this means is inside Vault you can apply access control list permissions against your files and folders in a similar way that you can do with Windows files and folders. So I can go to this folder, for example, GTX 970, right click on it and go to its details, and then on security, we can override security and then add in people, groups, and we can give, for example, I can give myself read permissions to this folder, modify permissions, but then say, no, I can't delete anything from this folder. And this is a good way of restricting access to certain folders inside your Vault that you don't want certain groups of people having access to. So you can do that at a folder level. You can also do it at a file level. There's various different levels within Vault that you can apply permissions to. It can be done at lifecycle level, it can be done at folder level, it can be done at all kinds of different levels, but you do have quite a lot of flexibility for managing who can and can't see certain objects, folders, files inside your Vault. So you get that with Vault Workgroup. We've got Microsoft Outlook integration, so that allows you to send emails directly from Outlook into Vault. Not something that I think a lot of people use, but the option's there if you want to use it. We've got project lifecycles. I've already mentioned that. Project lifecycles is basically folder lifecycles. It allows you to apply lifecycle states, released work in progress, etc. against folders. All right, Vault Office. Vault Office it's a strange one. I'm not sure it should be in this list because it's a separate purchasable license, but it allows you to give non-CAD users access to your Vault via the web client, which is an internet browser-based, conduit into Vault. And it allows them to use that web browser to access Vault and send data in and out of the Vault to do minimal edits without having to give them a full Vault client, a full paid-for license. So Vault Office is a little bit cheaper than Vault Workgroups, and you give that to people who don't necessarily need CAD access into your Vault. So that's what you get in Vault Workgroup. Right, moving on to Vault Professional. So this is the full fat. This is the everything, all singing, all dancing. You get everything as I've just mentioned up until this point in Vault Professional, and these things here. So starting with BOM management. BOM management, you might be thinking, well, I can manage my BOM in Inventor. I can go into Inventor and I can click manage, and then I've got there's my bill of materials here. So what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that BOM management? Well, BOM management in Vault Professional refers explicitly to the item master, which is this thing here. So if I'm going to use the item master and show you what this is, I need to check my my assembly back into Vault, because you can't do much with items if you've got stuff checked out. So we'll check this back in. This is the direct CAD integration that you get with Vault Basic. Right, that's back into Vault. Items are difficult to explain. They're kind of part records. So if you think of your ERP system, you'll have records for parts in your ERP system. You'd log into your ERP system and then you'd search for a part number and you'd see a record for that part in your ERP system. That's kind of what an item is, but it's inside Vault Professional. So if I select the item master, at the moment it's empty. I have no part records inside Vault, even though my data is all there. I haven't created any item records. At the moment, Vault just sees all my files as exactly that. It's just geometry. It doesn't mean anything to Vault. Yes, you can release them. Yes, you can move them around, edit them, that kind of thing, but they don't really mean anything to Vault in terms of bill of materials and parts. So what you would do is you would right click on your top level assembly and then you go to assign update items. This searches the Inventor BOM. It looks at the actual Inventor BOM and then it converts all of the documents inside the Inventor model into items if they're eligible to be items. So for example, if I've got parts inside here that are set as reference in Inventor, they'll not get an item because you don't want reference data, construction geometry, that kind of thing to be promoted into a part record. You'd set that as reference in your CAD model and then Vault Professional ignores it and it doesn't give it an item. So if I hit the bill of materials tab, you can see it's now created a full item record bill of materials for that Inventor model, and it structures it based on the I guess the Inventor item numbers. So as you've got the item numbers in Inventor, it converts those into Vault Professional item numbers via the row order and position number, and then you can see it's promoted all the properties through from the Inventor model, so all the titles, all the descriptions, the revision numbers. So that's your item BOM. You can go to the general tab and you can see what the item is, and this is useful for people that don't have CAD, who aren't interested in 3D models. They don't know what a 3D model is, but they need to go into Vault and search for this record. So they type in the assembly name, the part number, and then they'd return this, so they can see that this is the GTX 970 item, the part, that's what it looks like. That's its current state, that's who did it. And they can see the CAD file if they want to see the CAD file. They can look at the history of the item if they want to see the history of the item, and they can look at where used information. So there's quite a lot of information there for them, and these items are what ultimately would be exported from Vault Professional into an ERP system rather than sending CAD data to an ERP system, which is something that you don't do. Okay, so that's bill of material management in a very, very, very small nutshell. Moving on, we've got automated engineering change orders, which you get with Vault Professional, right? There's nothing automated about them. That's a bit of a misconception, right? Automated engineering change orders. This refers to the ECO process inside Vault Professional. It is digital change control. So most companies at the moment, if you don't use Vault Professional, you're probably managing change via a paper-based system or some kind of Excel spreadsheet-based system. So someone would create a new Excel document, and then you'd write in the Excel document what you're changing, you'd type in the part numbers of what's being changed, and then that is your record for what's being changed. Within Vault, you can assign digital change orders to parts. So at the moment, for example, Fan 1 is released, it's built, it's being used out in the field. But if you want to make a change to it, what you can do is right click on the part and you can add it to a new change order. And then Vault creates this here, which is its ECO system. So this is the number of the change title. We can say, right, fan is being changed, blades are too small, increase by 2 mil, whatever. And then you can go to the records tab, and then this lets everybody know which models are being changed via this change order. If you want to add more files to the change order, you can do. You can select the file, and then you can say show me all related files. So this fan is used in all these other parts. It's been derived into various other parts. If those other parts need to be included on the change order, for example, like drawings, if this fan has a drawing, you can select the drawing and add that to the change order as well. And then you've got comments. People can add comments to the change as it's going through its life. You know, if you've found a problem and you need to notify somebody, you can select add a comment, and then you can type in blah blah blah, notice this, can you check that, whatever it would be. It's like a digital note assigned against the change. Files tab, this is what's being changed, and you can, if there's a DWF file generated in Vault, you can have a full 3D rendered preview there, which you can spin around, zoom in and zoom out on. And then you've got things like routing lists. Routing lists are a list of people that are assigned to work on the change order. So if you've got 5 teams within your business, electrical team, mechanical team, R&D team, for example, that kind of thing, you can have a routing list per team, so only the people in that team are assigned to that change, so people don't, aren't pinged notifications and stuff for every single change that's raised in the business. You'd create a routing list, select that routing list, and then those people are assigned to that change order, and each person can have routing roles within the digital change. And then finally, you've got the status tab. The status tab tells you at what point the change order is in its life cycle. So at the moment I'm creating the digital change, but then I'll move it through to the open stage, the work stage, the review stage, and then ultimately through to closed. And this is completely inflexible. You can't do anything with this. You can't modify this. It's pretty rigid. What I was meaning by it's not very automated is that it's digital. That's it. There's nothing automated about this change order process. It's entirely manual. You can, in a way, using kind of backdoor techniques, you can force people to use the change order system, but it's pretty manual. It's good to have it. It's good to be, for auditing purposes, to be ISO accredited, for example, in the UK, you'd need to have some kind of change management system that's pretty foolproof. But it's not automated in the sense that it doesn't do anything on your behalf. Okay, custom objects. Custom objects are entities that are created inside Vault that represent something which isn't a CAD file. For example, contacts, tasks. It's like a virtual object. It's a virtual entity that you can create entirely bespoke, and you start with nothing. There's no templates, nothing. You just physically create your own custom objects, and then they can be then used by users. But typically, it's things like contacts and tasks that people would use custom objects for in Vault Professional. Multi-site scalability is something which I use on a regular basis, and it is hugely useful. It's the ability to replicate your Vault throughout multiple sites. So, for example, if your head office is in the UK and you've got a satellite office in the US and you want to share data with them, they want to work on the same files as you're working on, it's not practical for them to VPN in from the US into the UK. The latency on the line will be too much, the line will be too slow. Downloading files from the UK to the US to work on day in and day out is going to be far too time consuming and frustrating for the users. So you would use Microsoft SQL replication to replicate a Vault from one site to another, and each site will have a local copy of the same Vault. If a user in the US checks a file into the US Vault, it'll then be synchronized over to the UK and vice versa. So it's a huge topic. I could create a massive video on just this topic, but that's something which is used if you do have multiple offices across the world, or even in the same country if you're in a big country, and it can be used to synchronize data across multiple Vaults. All right, then we've got Revit Integration. Now, personally, I've never used the Revit Integration because I work in the mechanical industry, so I've never had any architectural clients, but I would imagine if you want to use Vault with Revit, then I guess you need Vault Professional because that's where the Revit Integration is, but I guess a quick Google search will tell you what the extent of the Revit Integration actually is. And then we've got ERP Integration, which is the ability to send item data, which I showed you earlier on, out of the Vault into an ERP. So you've got that link between Vault Professional and your ERP system. But in my experience, if you do want an ERP integration between Autodesk Vault Professional and the ERP system, then it behooves you to go and do it yourself, to write your own custom program if you want the level of integration that you would expect, rather than the out-the-box solution. But Vault Professional does give you the option of creating that custom option if you want to go down that route. Right, okay, that'll do it for this one. That's the Vault product matrix. I could do a video on each one of these topics as long as I've used it myself, but that's a brief overview of all the features that you get in the various levels of Vault. So Vault Basic does the job. If you're not sure whether you should be using Vault, it's absolutely fine to just go with Vault Basic, and then you can upgrade as and when you feel the need to. If you do feel that Vault Basic wasn't enough and you want the features of Workgroup, but you can't go back. Unfortunately, you have to go only in one direction, and that direction is the expensive route. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for this one. Thanks very much. If you've got any questions on any of the Vault products, you can either put a comment on the video, but I would highly recommend that you go to the Autodesk Vault forum and post a question here. You're likely to get an answer quicker than you would do in a YouTube video comment area. So head on over to the Vault forums on the Autodesk website and post a question there if you need to know anything more. You can see here that anyone that's with a black bit of text in bold, those are Autodesk employees. Those guys monitor the forums, and you do tend to get official answers pretty quickly to questions on the Vault forum. Same goes for the Inventor forum as well. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Toodles.